Let's not be deceived by the light of prosperous times. Wealth has never been completely secure, not in the strongest empires, nor in republics, nor in revolutions. In war and in peace, the issue was protecting wealth. From the palaces of Babylon to the villas of Rome, the rich saw the same truth. Money was not just money. It was power, security, insurance, even a means of survival. While the ordinary person was swept along by the system, the elite learned to protect themselves. The main question never changed. As everything was collapsing, how did the rich manage to stay rich? First, Mesopotamia. At the heart of the city-state economy stood the temple and the palace. Silver was the unit of account. Barley was the unit of food and wages. On clay tablets, there are records of silver debt being settled with barley, lending without carrying cash, repayment with harvest. Temples functioned as storage and credit, so tying wealth to the temple complex gave a sacred shield and a commercial network. Let's not exaggerate. They were not a central bank, but they were a hub in credit and collection. In Achaemenid period Babylon, the Marashu family, and in Neo-Babylonian times, the Ajibi family firms grew on these networks. Archive tablets show this. Land leasing, tax and customs farming-like activities, diversified debts, collateral, partnerships, resilient to political change. Wealth was not all in a chest of silver. It sat in contracts and rental income. Early portfolio logic, reducing the risk of putting it all in one basket. In Egypt, the thinking was concrete. Land, grain, metal. Wages were long paid in bread and beer. The great granaries were tax office, payroll, and famine insurance. Grain was non-portable, yet the most resilient wealth against turmoil. Even as inflation and coin debasement came and went, grain income and land endured. The mechanism is clear. Whoever holds the food chain holds purchasing power. In the Aegean world, the issue became mobility. Athens' survival depended on Black Sea grain and port logistics that intervened in the market to control the flow, and when needed, offered grain publicly at Piraeus. Aim, bread in the city, even under shock. The lesson for the merchant was simple. Do not keep assets in a single city. Spread them along the route, a port, a ship partnership, receivables and stock in several cities. The practical early form of jurisdictional diversification. At the same time, maritime loans shared risk. Once cargo and ship set sail, interest included a hazard premium. Legal texts say it plainly. Transport contracts made debt conditional on the voyage. Storm and pirate risk were priced in from the start. Investors stayed afloat by spreading exposure across routes and seasons, not by betting on a single voyage. One individual proves the point. Passion, the banker at Piraeus, rose from slavery to freedman, then to one of Athens' most trusted bankers. Why? He tied deposits to intercity payments, managed receivables and sureties with care. Even if a city fell, claims could be collected elsewhere. In Rome, the strategy became institutionalized. Late Republic, early Empire, politics moved at lethal speed. Hero today, traitor tomorrow. Those who held only coin got burned. Powerful families moved into land and took stakes in companies handling tax collection and public works. The publicani logic was simple. Collect the state's revenue, earn commissions and ancillary income. Wealth lived in immovables and in cash flow. In crisis, portable wealth, gold and silver, moved to distant provinces or into secure hiding. Late antique hoards embody this go underground reflex. When the Western Empire collapsed, the bare truth emerged. The state could no longer produce security. Elite families leaned on estates, private guards, and trade networks, more than on the treasury. As currency collapsed, land, grain, crafts, and labor kept them standing. The state went, the wealth remained. Hoards and late Roman fines traced that behavior. In the Islamic world, two instruments stood out. Hawala, transferring a debt across places through a trusted network without moving money. Outside formal banking, high trust. Fast settlement in distant markets, harder to confiscate. Second, partnership and trust finance. In Kirad or Mudaraba, one side provides capital, the other labor. Profit is shared. Risk spreads. The Geniza letters show merchants holding multiple partnerships at once, splitting cargoes across routes. Same logic. flexibility that absorbs shock. The waqf also insulated wealth from political winds. Once established, property is locked into an inalienable core. Its yield flows to specified purposes. In practice, it preserved family and community assets across generations. A legal path to a simple desire. Even if the state changes, the core must not be touched. In medieval Europe, the church was a shield. Land donated by nobles stayed in corporate hands, the dead hand. Kings lost taxes and services, so the statutes of Mortmain in 1279 and 1290 set limits. The state tried to protect public revenue by trimming the church's shield. It is an arm wrestle between law and economics. In the same centuries, the lifeblood of trade flowed onto paper. Bills of exchange settled debts between cities without carrying cash. Italian cities refined the technique. Send funds, do not carry the money. Theft and confiscation risks fell. A firm could fail in one city and live in another. The Medici network absorbed shocks by spreading risk across geographies and partners. In the early modern period, ideas became institutions. In 1609, the Bank of Amsterdam ran on ledger money. It cleaned the chaos of diverse, debased coins with book entries. Account transfers gave a secure base for international trade. Over time, practice drifted from full reserves, yet as long as confidence held, the system worked. A practical answer to one question: where is it safe to hold? In 1694, the Bank of England was founded. In return for war finance, it received privileges. Not a central bank at the start, but in symbiosis with the state, it institutionalized public debt and became a backbone in crises. Lend to the state, receive immunity and privilege. Great fortunes weathered storms alongside the state. Everything ties back to two principles: control and distance. Control means owning assets that produce value despite politics. Land, the grain chain, rent-like cash flow, reliable receivables. Distance means spreading wealth across systems, countries, and instruments. Athens did it with the grain route, Rome with land and movable value, the Islamic world with hawala and multiple partnerships, medieval Europe with a corporate shield and bills, Amsterdam and London with banks and public debt. Today, accounts can be frozen with a keystroke, currencies can erode quickly, markets can crash in a week. The principle has not changed, the instruments have. International diversification, precious metals, different currencies, private property, solid cash flows. Real financial freedom is not only possessing money, it is keeping it standing in the storm.